It's no mystery to me. The same thing that happened to my daughter is what happened to Whitney. There's only one person who was around in both situations. You won't say his name. Nick Gordon is who you're referring to. I won't say his name. Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown's daughter, Bobbi Kristina Brown, has been gone for a while now. But if you ask her father, the way everything went down still doesn't add up. And he's not the only one who thinks so. Bobby Brown has spoken out several times about how Kristina's ex, Nick Gordon, might have had a hand not just in her passing but in Whitney's too. I want the world to know that Bobbi Kristina did not die from the bathtub incident. That's not what happened. Bobbi Kristina was starved to death. Do you think he knows what happened? I don't know what happened that night, but he does. You walked through that door and saw her. Much like you saw Whitney. It was literally a nightmare all over again. Allegedly, there's a lot more to this story, and word on the street is that Kristina knew exactly what went down with her mother. Many believe the eerie way their deaths mirrored each other wasn't a coincidence. It was planned. There are also rumors that Kristina was present for some of her mother's conflicts, particularly with industry moguls like Clive Davis. Just 2 days before Whitney's passing, Kristina reportedly witnessed a heated argument between her mother and Clive. And then suddenly Whitney was gone. So what exactly did Kristina know about her mother's death? And could that knowledge have played a role in what happened to her? Let's get into it. Kristina grew up in the spotlight, always right by Whitney's side. She even appeared in an interview with Barbara Walters when she was just 8 months old. By the time she was 1, she was already on stage at the 1994 American Music Awards, watching her mother accept an award. But when Whitney passed, Kristina took it the hardest. She was so devastated that she had to be hospitalized after breaking down when they found her mother's body in a Beverly Hills hotel room. Despite her grief, she held it together and put on a brave front during the funeral and memorial services. Whitney's passing thrust Kristina even further into the spotlight. While her family tried to protect her, she eventually stepped into the industry. She joined a Tyler Perry series for a brief period, attended the Billboard Music Awards, and even sat down with Oprah for an interview. But tragically, she never got the chance to fully carry on her mother's legacy. On January 31, 2015, Kristina was found unresponsive in the Georgia home she shared with Nick Gordon. She was discovered unconscious in a bathtub, just like her mother had been. After months in hospice, she passed away on July 26, 2015. The Fulton County Medical Examiner ruled her death as a mix of drowning and intoxication. The toxicology report found marijuana, alcohol, cocaine-related substances, sedatives, anti-anxiety medications, and morphine in her system. However, they couldn't determine whether her death was intentional or accidental. The official report stated, "The underlying cause of death is the condition which starts the downhill course of events leading to death, and in this case, it is the immersion associated with intoxication." Kristina's death immediately raised eyebrows because of its eerie similarity to Whitney's passing. Whitney died on February 11, 2012, at just 48 years old. She was found unresponsive and submerged in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. Reports stated that her death was ruled an accidental drowning, and toxicology results showed traces of cocaine, Xanax, and other substances in her system. Official reports suggested she may have suffered a heart attack, possibly caused by hardened arteries, which led her to lose consciousness and drown. But here's the thing, the coroner never found any actual proof that Whitney had a heart attack. So the whole narrative about her experiencing a cardiac episode might have just been a cover-up. The coroner did confirm that Whitney had mild heart disease and some artery blockage, which isn't unusual for long-time smokers. But nothing in the autopsy confirmed that she blacked out and fell into the tub due to a heart attack. And about the cocaine in her system, the coroner clarified that while she had used a small amount, it wasn't enough to be fatal. So that leaves the real question. What actually caused her to end up submerged in scalding hot water, unable to get out? Another disturbing detail. There wasn't enough water in Whitney's lungs to prove she drowned. That means there's a strong chance someone put her in that bathtub instead of her passing out in it. And you already know whose name keeps coming up when people talk about Whitney's suspicious passing: Nick Gordon. But another name that often comes up is Ray J. Ray J was reportedly the last person to see Whitney alive. According to some sources, he allegedly let a dealer into her room the night she passed. Leola Brown, Bobbi Brown's sister, has publicly stated multiple times that Whitney was beaten before she died. She claimed that family members saw signs of physical abuse on Whitney's body, and that she didn't just die in a tub. Ray J, for his part, denied being at the party the night Whitney died. But multiple witnesses have contradicted that claim. One person at the party even recalled Brandy asking where her brother was, which raises the question, why would she be looking for him if he wasn't there? Then things got even more suspicious. Ray J and Raffles Van Exel were reportedly seen sneaking out of the back that same night. And let's be real, Raffles and Ray J were never that close. So why was Raffles helping him leave so discreetly? If that wasn't enough, Leola Brown also accused Ray J of being Whitney's drug supplier. She claimed he was the one making sure Whitney had access to substances, and that he might have even given her a bad batch the night she died. I saw Ray J coming out of the hotel, hiding his head, being pushed into a car. Why was he hiding? He's always trying to be seen with Whitney. Why was he hiding now? These questions remain unanswered, but the eerie similarities between Whitney and Kristina's deaths have led many to believe that neither was an accident. Was Kristina silenced because she knew too much? And if so, who was really behind it all? One thing is for sure, there's more to this story than what we've been told. The mysterious deaths of Whitney Houston and Bobbi Kristina. What really happened? When Whitney Houston passed away, my first thought was, my God, somebody gave her a bad bag. That was the immediate reaction that came to my mind. But then I saw Ray J and suddenly everything started adding up. To make things even more suspicious, right before Whitney's tragic passing, she handed Brandy a secret note on live television during an interview with Brandy, Monica, and Clive Davis. To this day, Brandy has never revealed what was in that note. In another interview with she was asked about it, and she refused to disclose its contents, saying, "I'm going to just not say what it was and keep it to myself for my own personal reasons." Many believe Whitney intentionally passed that note to Brandy on camera, so there would be proof in case something happened to her. If you watch closely, after giving Brandy the note, Whitney kept her attention on Monica and Clive, almost as if she was distracting them to give Brandy a chance to read it. And let's be real. Why would Whitney Houston crash a recorded interview, soaking wet but still fully dressed, just to say hi and then secretly pass a note? That moment was too calculated to be random. Even creepier. If you listen closely, you'll hear Whitney say, "I nearly drowned today." That alone raised alarm bells. People have also pointed out that Brandy has no problem talking about Whitney when it's about good things. But when it comes to the darker aspects, she stays silent. That in itself speaks volumes. If that note contained something positive, why keep it a secret? And her expression when Whitney handed it to her said everything we needed to know. Now let's talk about Bobbi Kristina. There has been speculation for years that Bobbi Kristina found out the truth about what really happened to her mother. Some say she even had evidence to back it up. According to Jaguar Wright, Bobbi Kristina witnessed a lot of the chaos and intense arguments Whitney had in the very same hotel where she lost her life. And let's not forget, just 2 days before Whitney's passing, she and Clive Davis had a major fight. From what was reported, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that argument. And then, just like that, Whitney was gone. Many theories have circulated about Clive Davis and his potential involvement in Whitney's death. And if Bobbi Kristina was around during those heated arguments, you best believe she probably heard way more than she was supposed to. The most suspicious part. Whitney died at a Clive Davis party. That alone doesn't add up. But what's even crazier is that the circumstances surrounding Bobbi Kristina's death were eerily similar to her mother's. The toxic relationship with Nick Gordon, the drama leading up to it, it all points to something much deeper than what we've been told. Family members spoke out about Nick Gordon's behavior. One even said, "This is a young man who swears to God that he loves my niece, But yet he drags her up the steps, pulls her by her hair, punches her in the face, and knocks 2 of her teeth out of her mouth. Bobbi Kristina had plans. Big plans. She was supposed to go to Los Angeles to celebrate her father's birthday with the family. But it wasn't just a short visit, she had plans to stay. She wanted to be closer to Bobbi, rebuild their relationship, and truly focus on her career. Reports even stated that she was excited about continuing her mother's legacy and finally surrounding herself with people who genuinely cared for her. But there was one person who wasn't happy about that: Nick Gordon. Nick knew that if Bobbi Kristina left, he would lose all control over her. No more manipulation, no more access to her money. Nothing. And he wasn't about to let that happen. Word on the street is that Bobbi Kristina was supposed to meet a friend on the same day she was found unresponsive in the bathtub. Many believe she was planning to tell them that Nick wasn't who she thought he was, that she was ready to leave him and expose everything. But according to people close to her, she had already been drinking and was upset when she confronted Nick about her plans. When Nick returned home that day, they argued. Witnesses claim the fight became physical, and then Bobbi Kristina was found unconscious in the tub. The similarities to Whitney's death are too unsettling to ignore. Shortly after Bobbi Kristina was moved to hospice, her court-appointed conservator wasted no time filing a complaint against Nick Gordon, accusing him of causing substantial bodily harm and stealing money by pretending to be her husband. The conservator later amended the complaint, straight up accusing Nick of causing Bobbi Kristina's wrongful death. According to the lawsuit, after a heated argument, Nick allegedly gave her a toxic cocktail that knocked her out and then placed her face down in the bathtub. If you ask Bobby Brown, he firmly believes Nick was present during both Whitney's and Bobbi Kristina's deaths. To him, it's impossible that it was just a coincidence. Of course, Nick denied everything. He even had the audacity to flip it around and blame Bobby Brown for what happened to Bobbi Kristina. But in the end, Nick himself passed away a few years later, taking whatever secrets he had to the grave. So now we're left with more questions than answers. Was Nick Gordon really behind it all? Or was he just a pawn for someone more powerful? Someone pulling the strings behind the scenes? One thing is for sure. The deaths of Whitney Houston and Bobbi Kristina have never sat right with anyone. The eerie similarities, the circumstances, the unanswered questions. It's too much to ignore. But what do you think? Was Nick Gordon truly involved? Or was there a bigger force at play? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's talk about it.